When I think about art in Newark and I think about how we got here because we're being punished for revolution. We got here because in 1967, people said they had enough. Hey, what's up? My name is Malcolm Rolling. I'm an artist, a muralist, a craftsman, and I'm also the chief operating officer at Yindor.
Sagafet, my name is Lundy. I am an illustrator, I am a muralist, and I'm also the project manager at Yindor. I was doing a project in East Orange. I was fortunate enough to be the person that was leading that whole project. The day that we were doing the unveiling, it just so happened that a mutual friend of ours came up to me and was like, hey, do you know Malcolm? I was like, nah, never heard this cat before. And she was like, nah, I think you guys should meet. He's really into public art and like he's been doing it for a while. I really think you guys should meet. So I was like, you know what? Cool, let me meet him. During our conversation, he said something to me that I couldn't wrap my mind around, which was he was a full-time artist. In my head, it's like finding a unicorn. I'm like, I don't think this is true. We talked some more. He took me around Newark, showed me the public art that's been around the city that has literally immersed itself into the city walls. And I was convinced. I was like, oh shit, he's really doing this for real, for real. This is a joke, but like it's really real. If anybody has ever watched like anime, like Dragon Ball Z, you know how Goku and Vegeta, like they're super powerful on their own, but they have these moments where they literally like fuse and they create something very different. Literally, like that's kind of really how you describe me and Malcolm.
Like our actual mural process is mad fun. Like we enjoy what we do. It could be a labor of love at times, but like, yo, at the end of the day, we enjoy each other's company.
I am the youngest of two. I grew up in Haiti, came here when I was 8 or something like that. First came to Florida, after that I went to Jersey. Grew up in East Orange, grew up in Newark, all around the area, all around the Oranges.
I grew up in East Orange, but I was born in Newark. My mother was a lot of things in life, but she was an activist and a poet and an artist herself. Somebody asked me, what were your earliest memories of art? And it's like painting outside in my grandmother's backyard with my mother, my first set of oil paints at 3. I went to HBCU, Elizabeth City State University in North Carolina. So like having that experience for 5 years kind of gave me a different perspective on where I live and the importance of like some of the things that happen here. So the first time I really felt like I was home was like participating in our art culture here and getting mentorship from Rodney Gilbert.
My connection to Newark is a little bit different, right? For me, I didn't feel like this place was home for a very long time. At the time that I came in, there was a big disconnect between like people from the Caribbean islands and like African Americans, right? I always used to find myself in some type of a fight because of the simple fact that, you know, I spoke a different language. It wasn't until my adult years that I started feeling like Newark was home, or just the United States for me was home.
I like changing the narrative. Like there's a big negative narrative about Newark of like, you know, crime and gang violence and stolen cars. It's just like this really weird, old has-been narrative about the city of Newark, and I hate it. So anytime I get the chance to like show somebody like, no, it's actually really dope things going on, right? And Newark got some of the largest murals in the state. Like Jersey City has some big stuff, but Newark has some really big stuff that's not in our downtown, that's like literally in our neighborhoods.
Newark is coming up. You want a house music festival? You know where to go.
Newark.
Okay, you want an airport close? You know where to go.
Newark.
You need more cherry blossoms than in Japan and Branchville Park?
Really?
In the whole United States? Then you gotta go to
Newark.
I see Newark opening up a new chapter. I feel like art has always been this you know, of course, this elitist thing and everything like that, and street art has broken those boundaries. But at the same time, I feel like Newark gives it such a different perspective. I talk about my experience about being an immigrant, the treatment and everything like that, but also I'm talking about how beautiful it is too. Because if I would have stayed wherever I stayed at, I probably wouldn't have been able to interact with all these different people.
Hans was talking about the ability to migrate from the Caribbean here, but that's because this has always been a hub for people to migrate.
I think that we can be the pioneers to a whole different branch of what we're talking about when it comes to art and how powerful it can be to talk about those things.
There's the possibility that it could grow. I watch a lot of artists talk about the city of Newark and talk about what we've done. We've been top 10 in art for 5 years, analytically. We're the hub for the state. But at the end of the day, without resources, none of that shit is gonna exist.
I was never meant to be here. My path was going to get a secure job. I was trying to be a cop like 3-4 years ago, and it wasn't until like I ran into Malcolm and we really had a conversation. And even then, I was still on my path and still on my trajectory to just get a job. And even now, I still have moments where I'm like, you know, this is a little shaky, money's a little dry, there's not a lot of support. Like the thing that Malcolm was talking about before, like, yo, like that shit is real.
Like artists are the first people across like the proverbial goal line. They're the first ones to run across and say, I got a new idea, I want to change this, right? But if they're not supported, it doesn't exist for longer than it exists. I'm hopeful that we keep surviving, we keep being resilient, but I'm also skeptical of who's going to support us.
My inspiration is heavily into my culture. It's heavy into the history of Haiti. It's heavy into the resilience. And I think that's the other thing that we also, like, we connect back to, because even though it's different groups of people, or the history is different, but it's the same struggle.
Man, black people are my inspiration. That's it. I don't know how to, you know, like in my bio it's written very beautifully. Like I crafted it to be very beautiful and intellectual or whatever. But at the core, it's like seeing resilience in people. When I step outside and I see that dude that's walking to work every day, or he picking up his baby and he got all this stuff on his shoulder, it keeps me inspired. It keeps me motivated. I try to represent that population in a certain way, and I also try to help people in a certain way. Meeting people like Hans, right? Where it's like, bro, you talented, you too talented. Be a cop, it's crazy. You too talented, right?
By nature, I'm an illustrator, right? I heard this artist say, Haitian art is about painting what we would want our reality to be. And that resonated with me for a very, very long time. And so when it comes to my art, I paint what something could be, but still real. You know what I'm saying? But I still use like surrealism a lot of the times to create the imaginative part of my artwork.
Eloquently put, it's like urban expressionism, Afro-impressionism. It's like I'm trying to invoke emotion through color theory, but there's a street art element to it because like I said, I grew up in street art and I use found objects, wood, stuff like that. So it's like rough, but refined at the same time, and very researched, the subject matter that I paint. If I pick a subject, I try to know as much as I can know about the subject so I can kind of convey that emotion effortlessly. I use yellow because it vibrates, because it's a spiritual color, but also because I grew up in a time of pissy hallways. So it's like I use those things to kind of like move back and forth in culture. My message would definitely be, it's possible. You could do it. You don't need anything but your imagination. To get started, all you gotta do is commit to getting started.
There's some way, somehow, you can get whatever you're trying to get done. Fuck the red lines. It's just a matter of finding the information, finding the route, and just executing it.
I've just been doing art my entire life. I don't have another way to exist. That's it. It's just literally my lifeline. It's not something that I think like, yo, I have to put the, no, that's it. Yo, my name is Malcolm Rolling.
My name is Hans, and that's it.
Peace.